everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's just Karan Tillon here. Today, another Saturday, another live as I scheduled it on my Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, it's Karan.Dillon94. That's Karan dot DHILLON 94. I'll put it in the link down below. So in my Instagram, I did a poll on what kind of topics do you want me to cover. So I have some screenshots right over here. These are the screenshots. So I'm going to be answering all those questions and much more. But as you know from the title of this video, for anyone who's rewatching this video, today I want to talk about in the first section of this live, what are the true cost of home ownership? Not a lot of people know that. Hey Chaitanya, how's it going? So not a lot of people, when they buy a house, know the true cost of home ownership. So in the first half of this live, I want to talk about what are the true cost of owning a house. And then after I'm done with that first part, which is I made some notes over here, then I'll answer any questions that you guys let me know in the Instagram, and then any questions that you guys might have right now. Okay, so let's get into it. What are the true cost? Right over here, made some notes for anyone who is just joining. Anyone who's just joining, in the first part, we're going to talk about the true cost of home ownership, and then anyone who left me a question on Instagram, I'm going to answer those questions after, and then any question that you might have, let me know in the comments. But if you just joined, tell me in the comments that you're here, and then we can get it started. Okay. So I'm going to take a very specific example. Hey Rishabh, how's it going? So I'm going to take a very specific example, which is the true cost of home ownership. When we're buying a house, a lot of people think that to buy a house, all the expenses that you're going to incur on a month-to-month basis is just going to be your mortgage, or how they say it in India, your EMI. Well, you're wrong. That's not only yeah, I'm gonna take all your questions. So leave all your questions, and then once I'm done with the topic that I want to talk about in the first half of this live stream, then I'm gonna answer all your guys' questions, as you guys know. Well, to my point, when you're buying a house, we just think that we're buying a house just on a month-to-month basis, we're just gonna pay that mortgage, which in India is called the EMI. However, that is not totally true. Let's take an example of a $350,000 home, which you put at least $50,000 down. So now your mortgage is $300,000. So out of the $300,000, right now the interest rates are pretty cheap. They're anywhere from 1.6% to 2% to anywhere from that kind of range, 1.6% to 2.2%. That's the kind of interest rate that is going right now in the market. But I've took a more conservative approach, and I've assumed that the interest rate that you get on the $300,000 mortgage is 3.24%. So right now, the government of Canada has introduced a new stress test. If you guys don't know what a stress test is, a stress test is what the mortgage broker or the mortgage advisor uses to actually qualify you for a loan. So even though your interest rate right now might be 1.6 or 1.7, right now they increased that stress test to I believe 5.29%. So you got to qualify on a 5.29% to actually qualify for a loan, right? So back to my point, on a mortgage of $300,000 at 3.24% year over year for 25 years, I've locked in that mortgage at 25 years. The cost of owning that $350,000 home is going to be, the first cost is obviously your mortgage, as a lot of you guys know that that there is a mortgage cost. So the monthly cost of the mortgage on a month-to-month basis is going to be $1,456.94. So almost $1,500 each and every month. I'm gonna take a quick pause here. If you're watching this live stream and you're enjoying whatever and you're finding value, whatever I'm saying, I'd really appreciate if you can just like this live stream down below. Just hit that like, and that really helps me out a lot. Now, so the first cost is the mortgage. Now, the second, obviously within the mortgage, you have the principal and you have the interest. So the principal is actually um, your equity that you're paying down, and interest is the amount of money that you loaned from the bank, and the bank is giving you that money, right? So first cost is the mortgage. Now let's get into the second cost, which is the property tax. Property tax of a $350,000 home. It really depends on which city, where you're buying that property. But let's assume it's Winnipeg and or anywhere actually, Ontario, Vancouver has, yeah, actually Vancouver, Surrey, all those places also have decent property taxes, not too high, but your property tax is highly dependent on the price of the property that you're buying. So for a $350,000 home, I've assumed that the property tax that you're going to be paying is around $400. So the two costs that we talked about is the mortgage, which is around $1,456. Property tax, $400. The third cost is utilities. Obviously, in Canada, you gotta pay for the utilities as well. So the utilities, you can separate those utilities into hydro and into water. Hydro is the heat and the electricity, and the water is pretty self-explanatory, the water. So utilities on a month-to-month basis on a $350,000 home, they're going to cost you around $300. So now mortgage $1,456, property tax $400, utilities $300. So as you guys can see, this is just going up more and more, right? So it's not so cheap to own a home. Okay. So then after utilities, we have home insurance. Home insurance is going to cost anywhere. It really depends. The cost of the home insurance here in Canada, it really depends on what kind of property you're insuring, and if the actual homeowner is going to stay at the property or not. Because if the actual homeowner will stay at the property, then the kind of insurance that the homeowner will get is called a homeowner occupied insurance. So that insurance is cheaper for homes. However, if the homeowner is not going to stay in the property and you guys will actually rent out that property, then you got to get rental insurance. And rental insurance varies from city to city and property to property, and the age of the property, and there's many different things. But it's considerably more expensive than owning a home, homeowner occupied insurance. So for this $350,000 home, I'm assuming that you're gonna stay at the property. So a homeowner occupied insurance on this $350,000 property is around $150. So that's another cost. And then you have the usual month to month cost of phone, which is your landline. I've assumed that to be $40. Cable, but I've assumed that nowadays there's not a lot of people watching TVs, and we have our laptops. So I've actually eliminated that cost. So I just assume phone, and then the last but not least is internet, and the cheapest internet that you can get here, that you can get on a promotional basis, is $65. So all in all, if I do a summary of all the costs of owning a home, are cost number one, it's the mortgage. Cost number two, property tax. Cost number three, utilities. And as you guys can see over here, I made the notes. So cost number three, utilities, which can be separated into hydro and water. Then home insurance, and then phone, and then internet. So all of that summed up of all of the numbers that I just said on a $350,000 home, on a month to month basis, that is going to cost you $2,411.94. So you guys can see like approximately a $350,000 home that you put $50,000 down as a down payment. That's gonna cost you around $2,500 each and every month. So obviously $2,500. It really depends on what kind of income that you're making. But if we discuss the average Canadian household income, 2,500 dollars a month eats up a lot of the money that they make. So owning a home, it's not always easy and it's not always cheap. So that's why whenever you guys ask me how should I start investing into real estate and how should I start investing into real estate and what kind of property should I buy, how should I get my feet wet into investing in real estate, I always recommend you guys to House Hack, which by now, if you've been following me, you should know what house hacking is. But however, if you don't know what house hacking is, if you buy a $350,000 home, and as I said, on a month to month basis, that home is going to cost you $2,500 almost. So if you house hack that property, meaning like let's say there's a basement and there's two rooms in that basement, you can just rent out that basement, let's say for $1,000, which is very achievable. And now your living cost are cut by $1,000. So instead of paying now $2,500 almost, now you're just paying $1,500, and that $1,000 now you can use it much better. Maybe you want to invest it, maybe you want to save it, but I would say just invest that money into, if you don't know a lot about stocks, go with something like an ETF, which the SPY or the QQQ, some stocks like that that track the whole market. So that is a big consideration when you're buying a single family home that you want to live in. All those costs you should consider before buying that, and if you're going to be able to afford those costs on a month to month basis, because the last thing that I want you guys is to buy that house and actually have to lose that house because you cannot afford it, right? So pre-plan, maybe house hack, do some numbers. Hey, how's it going? Do some numbers uh, and basically plan for future, right? So now that is the cost of owning a home, uh, owning a principal residence. However, there's also some extra cost if you want to own a rental property. So what are some of the extra costs? But I'll actually go into detail in further live streams about what are the extra costs of owning a rental property. But on that note, some of the extra costs might be vacancy. So if you bought a property that you're just getting it for that you just want that property for a rental portfolio, and obviously you're paying mortgage, you're paying all of that, but let's say you cannot find a tenant for 1 month or 2 months, then 1 month or 2 month expenses you're paying out of pocket. So that's what's called vacancy, that you're paying all of that out of pocket, and and that's another cost to take into account, when you're buying a rental property. So those were the questions. So that was the topic that I did want to discuss today. And let me note down when I finished, around minute 14. Now, if you guys have any questions, start. Thanks, Ankit. Thank you very much. Now, that's the topic that I wanted to share with you guys today. I wanted to do a quick live before I actually go and shoot another video with Aman today on another flip property. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna come Sunday, and as you guys know, my upload schedule is right now Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So all those days you can expect a video. So now, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments, and then I'll start answering those questions. But meanwhile, I'm gonna answer the questions that you guys gave me on Instagram. So let's get into that. Okay, so the first question that I can see here, and I'm gonna answer. Okay, minute 15 is when I'm answering these questions. Okay, so the first question that I got from my DMs is after I'm gonna answer that as well, Ankit. 1 second. So the first question that I got was after completing. I have them right over here. Okay, after completing my 12th, I want to study. I want to study in Canada, and I want to do real estate. Which course should I take? Hey Pradeep, how's it going? So right now I'm just answering your guys' questions that you guys left me on my Instagram DMs. So let's get into that. After completing my 12th, I want to study in Canada real estate. Which course should I take? Well, I don't. Sure. I don't actually recommend doing any type of course to study real estate. I would say educate yourself first. What you're doing right now, it's great. Watching live videos and getting that knowledge. Second, I would say read books as many as you can. I've recommended 2 books in my last video that you guys can check out, and on how to buy your first rental property. So if you want book recommendations, you can check out my last video. So those are the kind of things that I would recommend doing before taking any type of course. But I'm actually putting something together for you guys once I have everything sorted, so you guys can also take some advantage of that. Okay, now the second question that I got from the DMs is it worth buying an apartment or buying an apartment slash condo than a house? Me personally, I would say if you're wanting to stay in not a metropolitan city, so if you're wanting to stay either in Winnipeg, Calgary, uh, all the small cities compared to Toronto and Vancouver and all those places. So if you're wanting to stay in other cities instead of Toronto or Vancouver, I would say buying an apartment or a house does not make sense. A house appreciates, the value of the house goes much higher than the value of an apartment or a condominium. And also the condominium or the apartment has condo fees, as I mentioned in one of my last videos. It has all the different expenses. So and you have to share the public spaces with other tenants in that building. So that those are the kind of things to consider before buying an apartment or condo over a house. But if it was my decision and I wanted to live, let's say if I'm right now in Winnipeg and I wanted to live in Winnipeg, I would much rather buy a house than buying a condo. Because let's say after 5 years, if I'm trying to sell that house, the amount of money that I'm going to get for the house appreciation is going to be much more than what I bought for a condominium or or an apartment. Okay, so now the other question that I got on my DMs is wholesale of real estate in Toronto or other big city. That was by Rohit. That's the same process. So wholesaling works the same way in whichever kind of city that you live in. Uh, Whether that is Winnipeg, whether it's Calgary, whether that's Toronto. I know in BC it's not allowed. Wholesaling is not allowed in BC, but it's the same way. Start with Kijiji, start with flyers, identify a particular neighborhood that you want to wholesale in, and then you can easily make anywhere from 10 to 15 to $20,000 a month by even wholesaling one property every month. I've seen even some of my colleagues making $50,000 per wholesale deal. So obviously that's rare, but I have seen it. So you start out the same way. Go and check out some of the videos that I made on wholesaling. It's going to be in the videos that I have made on how to start with even zero money, on how you can make $15,000 $20,000 a month by wholesaling properties, and you don't even have any startup expenses. So go and check out those videos. But whether you do wholesaling in Winnipeg, whether you do wholesaling in Calgary, Toronto, anywhere, it's the same process. Start with identifying a neighborhood that you want to invest in. Once you identify that neighborhood, drive around which kind of properties are not looking great, which kind of properties need some kind of renovation. Note those properties down on a piece of paper like this. Once you note those properties down, then I've recommended start making flyers that I'm a real estate hello, I'm a real estate investor. I buy houses cash in as is condition. So once you've written all those letters down, and I put a sample of how those letters look in one of my last videos. So go and take those flyers and put it in their mailbox, and then you wait for them to call you. Once, one second. Once they call you, then I've also discussed on what kind of things to say in that last video, on my wholesaling video. And I actually make a playlist of how to wholesale from the videos that I made. But when they actually call you, the seller or the owner of the home calls you that, hey, I am interested in selling my house, then all that you do is ask them the details and what kind of house it is, what's the situation right now. Hey Nitin, how's it going? And what kind of situation is the house right now? Does it need a lot of renovations? You ask them all those kind of questions. You also ask them how much are they willing to sell the property for. Once you know all that information, then you actually have to gauge, like, is this going to be a property is going to be worth it for me to buy and make $15,000 to $20,000 a month? Is there a margin to buy that? Or so if there is a margin to buy that property and for you to make money, then you actually set up an appointment and go and meet the seller at his or her property, and then you put the property under contract. And I've shown you how to do that as well. Okay. Now, Amrit also asked how to do door knocking. This is all from my Instagram. How to do door knocking to find wholesale deals. What's the script to talk to the wholesaler? Well, how to do door knocking is, again, identify in the particular city, or in your particular city, which neighborhood that you want to target at. Once you have identified that neighborhood, then the next thing is, as I said, making those flyers. You have identified the neighborhood, you have identified those flyers in your hand. Now if you want to go door knocking, you can do that. All the script is very simple. You identify the houses that need some kind of renovation. Maybe the roof is not in the greatest condition, the landscaping, so the lawn, they don't take care of the lawn. So those are the kind of things that you want to look out for when you're actually walking around or driving around the neighborhood, that if they take care of the home or not. Is there pride of ownership or not? So if there isn't pride of ownership, you take that flyer with you. You have identified house, let's say A, and then you go up to the house. You just ring their doorbell or knock on their door, and if they're home, the simple and most effective script is this, and how I used to do it is, hello, I'm a local real estate investor. Let's say I'll just say my name. Hello, I'm a local real estate investor. My name is Jazz. I'm here to buy properties and help. I'm a local real estate investor. I buy properties in as is condition. I looked at your property. I'm really interested in buying your property. Where are you considering selling your property? That is it. Then they say yes or no. If they say yes, then you say, okay, is this a good time to actually check out your property right now? If they say yes, check out the property, and then go back home, run some numbers, and make them an offer. If they say no, then you just follow up with them. Take down their information, take down their name and number, and just follow up with them. The money is made on the follow up. You will never close a deal the first time. That's very rare. But once you take down their name, once you take down their number, and you have their address, just keep following up with them. One day they'll definitely be interested in selling that property. And once they're interested in selling that property, because you've been following up with them, maybe just call them once every 2 months, every 3 months, they'll have your name in their they'll have your name in their head, and they're gonna give you a call. So then from that one property you can make easily 15, $20,000, 25, whatever kind of margin profit there is there, right? So hopefully I've answered your question, and that's a very easy and way to script and go door knocking for those wholesale deals. But if you don't want to door knock, then all you can do is identify those houses and take those flyers and put it in their mailbox and just wait for them to call. However, I would say door knocking to find wholesale deals, it's a great way to find to find properties, and to actually build the confidence with the seller, because the seller can identify you as a real person. Because there's a lot of scams going on when doing wholesaling, that people don't tell their actual real names and all that kind of stuff. But if you do door to door knocking, and they know that you're a real person, they know that you're a real that they know that you're a real estate investor, then that's a great way of building rapport with them, right? All right. If by now you haven't liked this stream, make sure to smash that like button. That really helps me out a lot. And once you smash that like button, that's going to give you a lot of luck for 2021. All right, now I've I've taken the questions that people told me on Instagram, because that is the priority. I take the questions of Instagram first, that they actually took out the time and write down those questions. Now I'm gonna take your questions right now, whoever is watching live right now, which I really appreciate you. And let me know the questions in the chat. Whatever kind of questions you have, don't wait now to let me know in my DMs. Ask me right now. I'm gonna answer each and every one of your questions. So I'm gonna start scrolling right now. Okay, Chaitanya is saying, which one is profitable to buy in Vancouver or Richmond? House, apartment, or townhouse? So that really depends on the kind of money that you have. But even in Vancouver or Richmond, house prices are anywhere from like $2 to $3 million, and condos or townhouses can range from $700,000 to $1 million. So that's the kind of range. But if I had the money, I would always buy a house. There's more privacy. You can do whatever you want, and there's all those kind of things. So if I have the money and I have the down payment and I know what kind of city I want to live in, I will always buy a house over buying a condo, because buying a house, you have much more privacy. You can do if tomorrow I want to renovate, and if tomorrow I want to paint these walls, I want to renovate, take out some walls and do whatever kind of stuff, I can do that. I don't when you're living in a condominium, however, or in an apartment, you cannot do that. You'll have to actually ask the condo board. You'll have to ask different types of you have to ask the property manager. So there's a lot of people that you'll need to get approval from, before accepting and doing that. And when you own a house, you don't need any of that. Okay, so that's Chaitanya's question. If you guys first haven't liked this live stream, smash that like button. It doesn't cost any money, and it helps me out a lot. And if you have any questions right now, leave them in the comments right now, and I'm answering all of your guys' questions right now. Ankit is saying, love your videos, bro. Keep up the good work. I appreciate it, Ankit. Thank you very much. It's because of your guys' support. For a newcomer, what is the best basement or condo, especially single people? Ankit, do you mean to buy a base, to buy or rent? Um, if I would say to, if I would say to rent, rent anywhere. Just make sure that your living expenses on a month-to-month basis are as low as you can. So, but if you were thinking of buying, let me know. But to rent, basement, condo, does not matter. If I would have, if I would have to pay, let's put it this way: if I would have to pay, let's say $500 to live in a basement, or live in or live in a condo or apartment, I would live in a condo or apartment, because in a condo or apartment, that property or that dwelling is yours. You don't have to, you don't have anyone living upstairs or anything like this. Well, you have, it's like other units, but I would, if I have to pay $500 a month to rent out somewhere, I would much rather live in a condo or in an apartment than in a basement. Okay, so that's your answer. Pradeep, hello, hello. Sandhir is saying, sir, import export opportunity. I actually don't know much about import export, so cannot really talk about that. Can we like make, Amrit is saying, can we like make around 10 plus bedroom house by taking a large piece of land and earn in student rental? Well, it's not like you can do anything that you want. There's regulations and rules around real estate, especially when you're building a brand new house after buying land. So there's a lot of permits and allowances that you need to get from the actual government to let you build that. So the easy answer to that would be no. You can build 10 plus or 20 plus bedrooms, because the city that you live in, the city council has to approve that before you can actually do any type of construction. Before, you have to get some permits before doing any type of construction. So that is the answer to that. And student rentals, they seem like, if you're, because you haven't bought a property right now, uh, because you haven't bought a property right now, because you haven't bought a property right now, it seems very profitable, which it is, but there's also a lot of headaches when you do student rentals. So the headaches when doing student rentals can be, they don't pay on time, they don't clean their house, uh, there are fights in the house. So it's not, when you're doing student rentals, let's put it this way, it's not completely passive. uh, there it involves a lot of active management when you're doing student rentals. Okay, let me answer more of your questions. Yash is saying, how to finance house flipping, refurbishing value plus down and after value. What are the key things? So how you finance a flipping property, the down payment, you have to have that money. Okay, that's the easiest way. And the other, you need to have at least 20 to 25% down and the renovation money to finance a house flip. But however, you can finance however, you can finance a house flip on hard money lenders. However, hard money lenders are going to cost you a lot of money, and you really need to know what you're doing if you're going with hard money lenders. That meaning that you really need to know your exit strategy and that what you're doing is going to work, because hard money lenders can charge you anywhere from like 15 to even 20% on the money that they lend. So I would say the safest way is have the down payment and the renovation money saved up, or team up, do a joint venture partnership, basically do a partnership with maybe your family, your friend that has money, and then you guys can do it as a joint venture. Okay, so that's the answer to that. Aman is asking, can I buy property on a student visa? Yes, I've answered this question many times. Yes, you can buy a house on a student visa when you come to Canada. All that you need is, instead of 5% down, the down payment that the bank is going to ask you is at least 35% down. So that's unlike permanent residents and Canadian citizens that you would need 5 or 10% down. When you're an international student or you're on a work permit visa, you at least need 35% down to buy that house. And if you haven't liked this live stream, make sure to like the live stream down below, as it really helps me out a lot, and it's free. Come on. Now, I'm taking more questions. If you have any questions that you've been wanting to ask me, or if you have any doubts, or this is the first time that you're watching me, my channel is specialized in real estate, finance, stocks, all that kind of stuff. I talk about money and help you guys build, no problem, Aman, and help you guys build your wealth and maximize your returns. That's the whole purpose of my channel. Okay. Uncle Misha, I meant for rent. Yes. So if I'm paying the same amount of money for a house, sorry, for an apartment or a basement, I will take an apartment, because you have much more freedom in an apartment. Okay. What is your time? I don't know. It's whatever your guys' time is, plus or minus 1.5 hours. Okay. Let's continue. Real estate or finance or personal finance questions, please. So Kamal is saying, then I would do a duplex conversion instead and increase the bedroom sorted. Yes, you can do a duplex conversion, buy a single family home, get the proper zoning from the city, and getting zoning, it's again a hassle from the city, as sometimes the city can give you a lot of headaches. But yes, you can do that. And you can convert a single family home into duplex conversion, because as I said in my last video, if you haven't checked that out on how to buy your first ever rental property, go and check it out in my YouTube channel. But if you own a single family home, that's considered one door. Okay, so how many income streams that you're going to have from that single family home? One, because it's only one door. If you own a duplex, that's two doors, so you're going to have two income streams. That's like a property, and has a property that's divided into two, and it has its separate kitchen, washroom, all that kind of stuff, and the other part also has its separate kitchen, washroom, all that kind of stuff, right? So from two, you're going to earn again two income streams. So, and the same goes from an apartment building of 16 units, you're going to earn 16 rental checks each and every month. That's why as people scale, and as people get more and more wealthier, they start buying apartment buildings, because then it's much more easier for them to manage one property than manage 16 different single houses. When you're buying an apartment building, you have a 16 unit apartment building, you're just managing one building, right? Instead of, if you have 16 houses that are spread out around the city, that's much more difficult to manage, because you're managing 16 houses in different parts of the city. Whereas if you buy an apartment building which is 16 units, then all you to manage that building, all you need to drive is to that one location and manage all those tenants, right? So hopefully that makes sense, and let's see if we can get 20 likes on this live stream. Rohit, real estate wholesaling in Toronto. I answered your question, which is right over here, and I appreciate anyone that DMs me. I've answered your question, but if you weren't present, I'll just answer it again. No worries. It's the same thing. Wholesaling in Toronto, it's the same thing. Identify the neighborhood that you want to wholesale in. make those flyers, identify the houses that need some kind of renovation, and then take that flyer, go to that house, leave that flyer, and just either wait for them to call you, or you can door knock those houses and just say a simple script of like, hello, I'm a local real estate investor. I'm interested in buying your property. Were you considering selling your property? I've bought multiple properties in this particular neighborhood, just to gain some of their confidence. And where you consider selling your property? If they say yes, then you just take it that way. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question. If you have any more, leave them in the comments and I'll answer them in rotation. Aman, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, she's asking how costly taxes are in Canada. It depends on your income, and depends what kind of things are you buying. The more money that you make, obviously your tax bracket goes higher, and that is however it is in each and every country. But there are multiple ways on how you can lower your taxes. One is by RRSPs, TFSAs, buying properties, buying rental properties. So there are many ways that you can lower your taxes here in Canada. But taxes are directly correlated to the amount of money that you're making. So if you're making a lot of money, then supposedly you're going to pay a lot of taxes. But again, the wealthy people and the smart people find different ways on how to not pay the not pay the government, and find different investment vehicles to park their money. And the biggest one is real estate. Their stocks, they buy stocks within their RRSPs. There's TFSAs, there's tax-free savings accounts, so all that kind of stuff. Okay, so with 17 likes, let's see if we can get 20 likes. Veer Pratap is saying, can Indian citizens buy a home in Canada? Yes, they can. They'll just need 35% down minimum, and show, if you're an Indian citizen and you want to buy a house, 35% down minimum, and show actual income that you're making here, or that you have a decent amount of property or income in India. Okay, so now let's continue. Rohit is saying, real estate wholesaling in Toronto or GTA, is it possible? Yes, I've answered that question. Then he's asking, so don't you think the competition will be so high in GTA as compared to other provinces? Yes, but you gotta shift your thinking. Don't think of how much competition there will be, or whatever. Whatever kind of profession you're in, whatever you want to do, there are going to be people that are doing it already, right? But maybe those people are not doing it the best that they can, so, or they're not providing as much value as you can, or they don't have as great communication skills as you might have. So you gotta find the things that you're good at and do those. Just don't be scared that there's gonna be a lot of competition, this and that. You just, I would say, just go for it. Don't be scared of this. There's gonna be a lot of competition or anything. How much income can you expect as a mortgage agent and or realtor? Well, that is again entirely dependent on you. It's entirely dependent on the individual. Uh, it's entirely dependent on the individual. How much money can you make? I've seen realtors on their first year make $300,000, but I've seen also realtors after 6 months, they didn't get any deals, or they didn't close any properties, to just quit, right? So again, it really depends on you, your mindset, how you educate yourself. You really need to be self-driven and motivated, and this is what I'm here for you guys, to let you know all of that kind of stuff and help you guys build your wealth, increase your income, and start buying real estate, which I preach always. So if you haven't liked this live stream, make sure to smash that like button, for 1 year of good luck. Okay, more questions. Rohil is saying, thanks, man, for answering all the questions. International students should watch your vlogs for real quality content. Great. Thank you, Rohil. I really appreciate it. Anyone who comments on my videos and I actually interact with them, I start remembering them. So whenever I post a video and you guys start commenting, I actually remember your name. I actually know who you are, Rohil, and I really appreciate it. And if you could share some of my videos with some of your friends or anything, that'd be great. Okay, so no more questions. Ankit Mishra is asking, Jazz, is it possible that I buy a property in Alberta as it is comparatively, one second, as it is comparatively cheaper and I live in Toronto? I am a FSW holder and allowed to live anywhere. So there are any province based on restrictions? So are there any province based restrictions? No. That is in my last video that I talk about how to buy a rental property, like what are the steps to buy a rental property. So if you haven't watched that video, go and check out that video, which is literally the most recent video that I uploaded, which is yesterday. But in that video, I discuss there that first you need to like the live stream. But jokes aside, in that video, I thank you, Yash. But in that video, in my last video, I discussed where do you want to live versus where do you want to invest. So where can you afford to live and where can you actually afford to invest your money? So Ankit, so the consideration that you're making right now, Ankit, of living in Toronto but investing in Alberta, that's a great consideration, because let's say you want to buy your property, your principal residence, which is where you're going to live in, maybe in Brampton. That's going to cost you anywhere from $800,000 to over $1.1 million. Now, the next question to ask yourself is, can you afford a second property in Brampton? Does it make sense? Because a quick rule of thumb is, for a $1 million mortgage, you're paying $5,000 as a monthly EMI, or as a monthly mortgage. So if you buy another property for $1 million, do you think that you're going to cash flow on that property? So all those things are things to consider when buying property. So if you bought your first house in Brampton for $1 million, can you buy a second property and it's going to cost you the same amount of dollars? Can you rent out that property for $5,000? You're not going to get that much amount of rental income, right? So then you need to start thinking of what kind of provinces are there that the price hasn't peaked yet, but they're still affordable. The price to rental income, it's still affordable. So those kind of provinces can be Alberta, definitely, Manitoba, Winnipeg, which is really affordable compared to Ontario or compared to BC. But right now we're at 19 likes. Let's see if we can get, I just need one more like, and let's get this to over 20 likes. But yes, oh, there you go. Great. But thank you. And whoever that was, thank you. But yes, you need to consider, if in the province that you're living, if you buy a second property on a month to month basis, are you gonna make money or are you gonna lose money? So let's take the example of a $1 million property. That's the kind of price that you get in Ontario, especially Brampton. On a $1 million property, your monthly mortgage is going to be $5,000. Okay, that's one expense. Okay, so let's go through these expenses. Monthly mortgage is going to be $5,000. Your property tax is going to be another $500. So now we're at $5,500. Your utilities, another $500. Now we're what? $6,000. Home insurance 150, 6150. Phone, and I'm not even gonna consider phone and internet. Don't even think about those small expenses. So just about those 3-4 expenses, $1 million home, $1 million mortgage is gonna cost you $6,200 each and every. Thanks, Raj. Yeah. A $1 million mortgage is gonna cost you $6,200 minimum, uh, as as you buy that property. So do you think that $1 million mortgage, can you rent out that property for $6,000? That's that type of rental income, you cannot get that type of rental income. So then then you start considering which kind of provinces that which kind of province is more affordable, that I can actually buy the property for, let's say, $350,000, then my mortgage is going to be around $2,500, and I can rent out the house for at least. Hello, hello. Sorry, I don't know what happened there, but I believe, if you guys can see me, can you leave some comments that you can see me right now? Can you guys see me right now? Yep. Okay. 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 Sorry. I don't know what happened with the Wi-Fi. It just left there for a few seconds, but yeah, thank you. But yeah, so Ankit, those are the kind of considerations. Sorry, the people that are rejoining. Something crazy happened with my Wi-Fi. Went for like 15-20 seconds, so I don't really know what happened there. But yeah, to answer that question, hopefully I answered that. But those are the kind of considerations that you need to make, whether where you want to live and where can you afford to buy your rental property. So if you guys have more questions, leave them here. I'm gonna do approximately 1 hour. So we still have 8 to 10 minutes. Yash, thank you very much, brother. But if you guys have any more questions, leave them in the comments, and I'm gonna start answering those. Yeah, no problem, Ankit. Thank you. That's the whole purpose of these live streams. Okay, Yash is saying great content. Thank you, Yash. I also remember you because you also come to these lives and comment in some of my videos. So anyone who comments in my videos and interacts with me on these lives, I really remember your names especially, and hopefully I'll take your guys' questions as a priority. Okay. Fine Touch Event Planner saying LTV appraisal value, please explain. So LTV is loan to value. So the bank is never going to give you more than 80% loan to value because they need their equity in that property. So if the property is worth, for easy numbers, $100,000, the maximum that the bank is going to give you back once you reappraise the property is 80%. So that is what's LTV, which is loan to value and based on the appraisal. Okay. Rohit Datta is, how can people pay so high mortgage in Toronto? Well, there are people that are doing that. Maybe their income is high, or people that their income is not high. They're living in a big family, 5-7 people are working, and I would say 50% of their income just goes into living expenses. So, I mean, it's the choice that you make. How is market in East Canada? Is it worth it? Yes, it all depends on the numbers on a particular deal. If the numbers make sense, then yes, it is worth it. But you can find you can actually find good deals anywhere, whether that's Toronto, Ontario, Vancouver. And Vancouver is going to be a bit harder. You're going to need a lot of money to do that. But that is that. What about renting in Prince Edward Island? Anywhere renting, find a good deal. Get as low as you can on your monthly living expenses, so you can actually maximize your month to month savings and invest that money or save up for a down payment. Okay. What about market improvement in terms of real estate? I don't know much about the Prince Edward Island market, but based on the Canadian market overall, the real estate in Canada is pretty hot right now. So I would say anywhere in Canada is pretty hot right now. So yeah, that was it. So all right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate each and everyone's time. And if you're rewatching this and you've made it this far, you're a legend. I really appreciate you. But that was it for today's live stream. Now, if you have watched it till now, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't by now. And I'll keep doing these live streams, keep providing you more and more value. And any type of questions, you can also ask me. You can reach out to me and follow me on Instagram. And my Instagram will be down in the link below. So click that link and reach there. And I'll see you next time on the tripod. See you guys there. Thanks, Yash.